Reed Hastings built the Netflix culture on radical transparency, believing openness was a powerful way to show trust. But in a notable shift, the company stopped openly sharing detailed salary information for its senior staff. Hastings cited the rise of petty rivalries and unproductive distractions that eroded the sense of a unified team. The lesson: what is intended to build trust can, if not handled carefully, introduce new tensions. The impulse to compare is deeply human. When salaries are laid bare, people naturally measure their own worth against their colleagues. This can lead to feelings of unfairness, envy, and demotivation, even when pay differences are justified. Collaboration is replaced by a subtle but corrosive feeling of internal competition. In fact, 70% of organizations that implemented pay transparency reported an increase in disputes and tension. The dialogue, intended to be constructive, often becomes a source of conflict, making the work environment more stressful and less collaborative. When individual pay becomes the focus, collaboration drops. People may hoard knowledge, viewing peers as competitors. This leads to a fascinating wage paradox. Research shows that while transparency can increase fairness, it often lowers individual bargaining power, suppressing overall pay. A university study found that workers who discovered they were overpaid actually increased their productivity. But those who found out they were underpaid saw a significant drop, especially if their job was secure. The key driver of employee satisfaction isn't strict equality, but a sense of procedural and distributive fairness. People want to feel their pay is a fair reflection of their unique contributions, skills, and experience. They want to understand the logic behind pay decisions. However, full transparency is a powerful tool for a specific goal: correcting systemic inequities. When Canadian universities made salaries public, the gender pay gap was reduced by up to 40%. This shows transparency is most effective as a targeted instrument to fight systemic bias. Despite the clear benefits in specific situations, the reality is that most companies are simply not ready for a sweeping implementation of pay transparency. A recent wide-ranging Mercer survey delivered a stark finding: only 19% of U.S. companies currently have a well-defined and communicated pay transparency plan in place. This is a dangerously low number, especially considering the wave of new state and local laws taking effect in 2026. The legislative landscape is changing faster than corporate practices are adapting, creating a significant compliance and cultural risk for many businesses. The data reveals a concerning disconnect between legal requirements and corporate preparedness. The same survey showed that a staggering 3 in 4 employers admit they are not ready to meet the new transparency mandates. This means a vast number of firms are being forced to adopt transparency policies without a clear strategy, without a solid philosophical foundation, without the necessary internal systems to support them. It is no wonder that so many attempts go wrong. They are often reactive, hurried measures designed to meet legal minimums rather than thoughtful strategies designed to build trust and improve the organization. So, what should a thoughtful leader do? The first and most critical step is to be precise about the problem you are trying to solve. Your goal should dictate your strategy. If your primary objective is to diagnose and fix a systemic gender pay gap or a racial pay gap, then a high degree of transparency is likely a very effective tool. If your goal is to build trust by showing every person's salary, proceed with caution. That choice can create a host of new problems, but the choice isn't between total secrecy and absolute transparency. There is a practical middle path. Instead of full disclosure, focus on process transparency. Share salary ranges for every role, explain the methodology behind them, and show how an individual progresses. This provides clarity and predictability, demonstrating the system is logical and fair without disclosing individual pay. Keep individual salaries private to protect personal privacy, reduce interpersonal friction, reduce envy. Do the work before you announce any new policy. Start with your compensation system. Ensure every pay decision is logical. Ensure every pay decision is consistent. Ensure every pay decision is defendable. Write down your process. Codify your philosophy. Apply it rigorously. This internal work is the non-negotiable foundation. Without it, transparency exposes flaws and destroys trust. Invest in building a fair system first. Treat transparency as a powerful tool, not an inflexible rule. Use it surgically to solve specific problems, like a systemic pay gap. Avoid it when it creates new problems, like internal rivalries and distractions. Netflix's pullback is an example of learning and adapting, not failure. It is a powerful example of learning and adapting. The question is, what kind and level of transparency will best serve your people and your business? This thoughtful, measured approach builds lasting trust. Transparency is a tool, not a virtue. Use it when it solves a problem. Skip it when it creates one. Netflix tried full transparency and reversed course. That's not a failure, that's learning. The question for your business isn't whether to be transparent. It's what kind of transparency serves your people and your goals.